Okay, guys, for some reason the filter I use to just show you guys the artwork isn't working. God, Jesus. But I am at least able to do this, so hopefully this will precise. Um, so we're gonna talk about. I need to sit down then. So we're going to be talking about this guy. Now, I did have plans to rewatch it just to understand his power again, but then I realized that his power was literally just based off of what was it? I think it was like sadness or despair or vengeance or something like that. So yeah, it was very much a lot of things. It was like it was a sad moment for him, but he is I believe it was grief because it was because he made the person feel grief and other shit and all that. So we're gonna get to this guy's character. And by the way, before I tell you guys, even though I'm using this power, I will be turning him. I will be turning the villain into a humanoid frog. Why? Because it's an amazing idea. And I have a great idea for it. Greninja, you're about to be challenged. But for what I saw from the show, he had like obviously his was supposed to be like I already forgot the emotion I just said. The emotion I said earlier, and so obviously because of that, he kind of he has a bit of he has this bit of darkness, right? Darkness, angles. He has like this weird dark ways as you can see from the picture and shit. And as you can see from the show, it affects his body as grief does. Grief does affect you. Well, I guess it would be also anger or whatever. I'm gonna say it's like grief and anger because he had like a lot of emotions, guys. Let's be honest here. So that's the reason why I can't really base it, but it's kind of like a dark feeling though. And then he was able to control it into some type of immortalized blast that was red. Makes me think that he turns it into plasma. Like he turns that dark energy and that bubbles up into red and then he shoots it out, right? Now, with that being said, he affected the entire field. He did so much damage. So it is incredibly amazing to see. Now, because of that, I don't understand why he was a frog. I don't understand it because uh, grief, despair, whatever you want to call it, uh, none of that has to do with the frog. So I don't know why they chose his helmet to be the style of a frog. But it's just an amazing idea, and the ideas I have in my head, like I think I have an idea for his power, and I'm trying to think of something else I can use for it. Cause I am really thinking about what I can add onto his powers, but he's kind of like a complete unit right now. So yeah, I have to really figure out why I have to because I'm taking his power, and so I need to figure out what I'm going to add on to the power. It's going to be hard for me, but I think I'm going to be able to figure it out though. Okay. But yeah, that's it. That's basically everything this guy did. He never did anything else. He never made constructs out of it or anything like that. So I have like a good solid idea what I'm gonna do. Shove it. Say hello to Ink Frog. And how much his stuff is not Ink Frog is either Ink Frog or Black Frog. And honestly, I just think Ink Frog sounds a little better than Black Frog. Either way, I have taken his powers and his abilities, and as all the heroes, I had to add something to his powers. So I have increased it. Him able to fully control it, and not just in the, like, yes, infect buildings, but also I made it for then he can use it as tendrils and tentacles, but also that he feeds on the sadness. Feeding on the sadness gives him more power. More power to the point that that this ink stuff start growing and growing and growing. Like, he has a giant abundance already, but then he just keeps on getting more. And there is a high level form of him where he will just become, he will be in the inside of it, being just like being the middle of this black ooky stuff, and it would just be a giant titan frog creature. But that's not all. He's able to go inside of it, and it's like it goes into like a sort of realm that only goes to where the ink is, and so he knows where everything's happening, and so he can even make little frogs or other things to shoot the red beams as well. And other than that, I did give him the ability to turn this into solid. Also, by the way, I am officially making this canon for the character. This stuff is actually just frog mucus. And so he just needs to eat more fear to create more frog mucus. And yeah. So he can turn his solid into make weapons and other stuff. Hence for the reason why I was going to go for a more ninja design, but he can still use ninja type stuff. And he is very ninja-y. But yeah. Overall, the design for this character is amazing, and I think I did pretty well. He can shoot the red beam out of his chest, but he also can shoot it out of his mouth. No, easy enough. This guy, since the other one was a medical suit frog, yes, I could have done that. But the fact is that I do actually have a region in my universe that are people who are half human, half frogs, and I did make a canon in the fact they do kind of have powers too, but it is kind of related to their beastly powers, so it's kind of added onto it. So that's fun. Either way, this is one of the people who don't really want to go to Beast Terra and has destruction and havoc. I will make a story for him and his reasons for being evil eventually in some point. But in other words, this character is actually really good. The color scheme is really nice. I really think I nailed it with the suit because it just looks so like bam, right? Like, it really pops. And that's what I love about it. It just like it pops out and it's just like and honestly this is the first time I've done a character that's walking and I can feel like he's walking towards you. Like, that's what I love about this artwork. So yeah, I would also like to say that this thing can make wings and other shit. So he is not bound by the ground. He can take the skies as well. So yeah, so in other words, this is just a mutated frog that eats people's fear and despair, and when it touches you, you will face your sadness and you will see it in doubt. And he can actually make it 10 times worse, because when you get struck with your doubt, the slime will form into that doubt itself. If it's a person or a thing, it doesn't matter, and they'll make you feel more guilt, making you more sad about it. And as he feeds on it, he will get more stronger and more powerful until he becomes a jumbo titan. Good thing we have those here, those titan. Well, I wouldn't say titan killers, but those. I guess titan killers. Those titan killers I put in my universe since I've been doing the Hero X stuff. So okay, so this villain is relatively simple enough from Hero X. Well, villain-ish. He was supposed to be like the counteract villain. So because of his role, he's a villain. He's not really a villain. He was a friend to the hero, but still, his role was a villain. The way I saw his powers and how he operated, it was like dark light. It was a light that was darkness, and it corrupted the battlefield itself. It was able to morph the battlefield and able to like transform it into anything he wants. He couldn't make any objects out of it, but he could bend it to its will, making different forms of like structures and other things, making mountains and twisting it. So, in other words, I'm going to say that this is more like a dark light that's able to corrupt the very battlefield that it's in, if wanting to be. but you would have to harness it into the ground and bring it back up. Also, we can use it to like shoot like a projectile. I do believe he should have been able to like harness the light to make him move faster, but for some reason he could not. So I don't know why. But okay, that. But that's it for this villain. Really, like there's not that much to this. Say hello to the Black Knight. The Black Knight, one of my favorite I think this is personally one of my favorite art designs, personally, because I don't usually just do one that's strictly a full-on color, just like one full-on color with barely any other special colors onto it. But yes, in other words, this is involving another curse. And if you guys don't know, last time I did a curse weapon and it was a sword based, it was the Headless Pumpkin King. But today, this sword is a little bit more of a Demon cursed sword, indeed. This sword is cursed because of 3 reasons. 1, this guy made it that way, and 2, he wanted it. He wanted ultimate power, because this villain here is very much fascinated with beating powerful people. Actually, even before this, he became a pro wrestler, pro boxer, and pro sumo wrestler, and beat them all to a pulp. So his new victory? Heroes. So becoming the most powerful villain in the world, and with the blast giving him a black hole based abilities, he decided to make himself a cursed sword to give him another additional abilities, but he didn't know how dangerous it was. He wanted the power of the Black Light. The Black Light is also from a different dimension, something that he found over his journeys, talking to several dependent monks and several people who knew how to cross through dimension. Very few people, but he did meet few who could do it. Took him to the Black Light, and the thing is completely evil, looking for an evil host. He pointed his sword demanding for ultimate power, and it gave him what he wanted. Just because they felt they can manipulate him, and they kind of did. He had permanent black armor forced into his body that he can never take off. And his sword turned to a shiny blue light. What, after that, turned into pure black. Wielding a pure black sword, he's able to manipulate the black light, using it to make several attacks happen to people, using it becoming literally this beam of light to travel faster, and able to morph the ground to any way he does please. And with his black hole abilities, he also is able to use these to teleport, move from different places, throw them, and also just destroy things in a destructive way. This guy coming out is the biggest villain in the world, in the fact that he can also use his black hole powers to reform weapons onto his hands. Strong, powerful, and it seems like barely anything can stop him. But the fact that he has been almost stopped and has been stopped by a few superheroes has caused him to have a more enjoyable rush trying to defeat other heroes. Now, just in case anyone has ever forgotten about how this works, I talk about the abilities that I know that this character has, and then at some point in the near future, or in the future in general, I'll be using their powers, and I'll be adding to their powers something for that could put them in my universe. So with all being said, let's go. So this guy, I forgot his name already. Either way, his power is obviously being a technopath. And if no one knows, from any of the 3 videos I've talked about, at least, counting this one, of how much I love technopaths, because technopaths are one of the very few people, like one of the very few powers that have three ways it could work and three different possibilities of a technopath. And obviously for him, he has the okay, I forgot what I called it. It's pretty much like tech control, where you just control tech in general. Some people are able to, that's another side of it. But basically, where you can talk to tech, or it's more like you have to build it with your own hands, but you can control tech to like show stuff on screens, other shit. And if there's like a mechanical arm, you can control that arm to do whatever it wants because you control tech. Now, saying that, there are other two as well. One is where you're able to build stuff with technology. And you're able to like form it together. Like you don't need a map plan. Your brain is the map plan, and your body in like long as you can get all the tech pieces you need, because you still need all the right tech parts. You can fuse it all together and form it into the thing you want to make. And then one of them is more like a virus where he goes into technology and you can infect the technology and stuff. So those are all three different versions of a technopath. He obviously has what I like to call the first stage of a technopath. Because this is more of the basic form of a technopath that people always use. So because of that, this character is very unique and very cool. Now, the fact that I'm doing this, you guys are going to get another Hero X drawing, but it's going to be for one of the last, actually it's going to be for the last one for Hero X itself. So it's going to be the last one I got to do for the last lineup of them. And then when we get these villains one rounded up, that's when we're going to do that. And then we're going to get to the last hero groups that I've gotten over for the last few years as we've been waiting for them to catch up. So in other words, we are very much underway. I have not been forgetting about this. Now say hello to Virus. Virus is actually a very interesting being. So one, he actually has like these let's call them just a bunch of capsules in his body in different areas that releases tiny microscopic nanobugs that he controls, being the first form of a technopath able to manipulate technology. And also communicate to technology, so he can communicate to the technology that's in his body to make more, and they spread. They do have a 4-round reach because it's kind of like Wi-Fi. They can't go through far length, but they can go pretty far. And the point of these little tiny virus bots is the fact that they are meant to do one particular thing. They are meant to make people believe that he is all powerful, in a way. You see, with this, and also the fact that he has also the third form of a technopath that is going inside of technology like a virus and infecting it. Only his technology his technology gets powerful through a virus, so it makes it more powerful. So it looks like he's like phasing in and out, and really he has like a wall of nanobots just in the other side. But also these things are able to basically make people hallucinate while making it feel very real because they're making it actually happen. From shooting an energy blast, from making shields, all the way to making hologram duplicates. They can do everything, and his suit is made out of them as well. Obviously, his body is completely made of these nanobots that are in his body, but I am not I'm limiting him for him not able to. He can make weapons, because obviously that is the second form of a technopath, able to control technology to make stuff. So he's able to manipulate technology to make weapons and other things. And to other people, it looks like he's making it out of thin air, when really he has swarms of the
nanobots floating around. And yeah, making him all three forms of the Technopath to add on to his power is way more interesting because I think last time when I watched the show, he definitely had the power to control technology, but not in the way that I'm giving it to him. And he will still have that aspect of like controlling screens and making them show stuff. He can manipulate other forms of technology by communicating with them, and that's the reason why I'm making him a strong believer. He can make technology believe in the words that he wants them for them to help him, and basically make technology revolution. So yeah, I think making this supervillain is a very cool character, especially he's very unique, he's very special, and he just do so much damage. So yeah, I think I'm very proud of this supervillain. Really, I can't wait until I see what I do for the others. Here we go. I really need to start remembering to um do these before I start recording. Either way, this guy, and honestly, this guy is definitely a villain, but his power is kind of odd. Now, it's obviously he has invisible tentacles that he extends, and he can have influences on people. From 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 what I saw from the start of it, because he corrupted, like, it seemed like he was the only one. Like, his power was enough to corrupt people, to influence people, to start judging and hating people, like hating, well, Lucky Cyan for that's the first time I've actually legitimately remembered her name. And hating her and blaming her for everything, basically causing judgment and blame. So it makes me feel like his one of his powers is that he has influence. The more he has influence on somebody, the more he can convince them to do some very dark things. And if it's someone with powers, it kind of, well, I don't know, like, because the only person he did manipulate was Jinx, and well, not Jinx, but the guy who I base my one of my heroes off of. And the fact is that even though that's that power, I still don't know how him doing this turns him into a dark, corrupted demon. Like, I can get to the fact that he felt this blaming he hated, and so this, and obviously this thing called fear or something, I forgot what they called it in Hero X. Um, it corrupts your inner power. So even though you have low fame, for some reason this corrupts the inside of you. Now, saying this, I don't know where to categorize this, because one, he has invisible tentacles, would could be anything, and then he has invisible tentacles, but then has these dark tendril tentacles with his dark corrupted form. What I will just give you this clever hint: he is most definitely going to be a demon, because I can do that. It sounds like fun, actually. So yeah, um, and it's like, so it seems like he corrupts things into dark submission, because he warped the ground, if I remember correctly, and made like dark corrupted tendrils. What in my eyes sounds pretty cool. Um, and then he has invisible tendrils, and I'm really lost on the tendrils part because I don't know what this categorizes his power as. The only thing I can think that can be clever, consistent to it, would be like his power is that he's connected to a different dimension or different, like being a creature. That would make more sense. Is either that or he has the like his corruption is invisible, and so it makes these invisible tendrils that he makes, and then that are connected to him, obviously, and then he can disinfect people more, causing visible tendrils and then dark tendrils. And Jesus Christ, it's a lot to process with that character. But as I can see from the character, this seems a pretty good level of power for me to try and do something with. I don't know what power I'm going to fuse with it or do with the power, because again, this is a really strange one. That's the reason why I feel like it's a different dimension or different type of entity type abilities than regular villain powers. So it could be that it still has me a little bit off. So yeah. Um I guess you guys are gonna have to wait until the future until I get this stuff done. So yeah. But if you guys really enjoyed this, I know this was a really weird one to talk about. But yeah, and like I always say, you guys should really go check out Hero X, because at the end of the day, it is a really good anime, and I promise you guys, you will not regret watching it. So let's go. So here we go, and so we have Corrupted Beast. Quite literally, Corrupted Beast. This creature is, well, was started with the abilities that were from the hero that I'm putting into this character. One, having different dimensional tentacles, basically tentacles that pour from a different dimension that's off of his own body. I'm saying that just because it wouldn't make sense. Also, his hair is tentacles as well. Number two, other than the fact that he can do a giant stream of a beam blast with the attack the attack of tentacles. I'm also going to say that his power may even link for the power of manipulation, since he basically made someone freak out, and with the essence of fear that I don't know if he already had on him or not, he made everyone not feel, it's not grief, it's more of, I don't know, I guess the word for blaming someone else for your own problems. And so anyone who feels like they have been wronged, that was they will start blaming them, having immense hatred that he feeds off of them as he affects them, that makes them completely hate that person and attack random people. This also leads me to giving him a new ability that I like to call Different Realm Dimension, or Different Realm Mindscape, if you may. Different Realm Mindscape, this ability is really strong, by the way. This ability is solely based off of the fact that he is also able to enter the mind to affect people. So he doesn't need to go near anybody, he can just attack them from their brain. Doing this will allow them to already be affected with him, but he also does have to be near them sometimes. It depends on how strong their mental state is. So say if it's someone who's always very creative, he needs to be near them because they have a very strong mental state. But if it's like a normal person, they have a very weak mental state. And that means that he's going to need to be a little bit more closer. But also, if he wants to highly focus on a few people, he can trap them inside of a dream mindscape, where it's basically like dark entranceways and whatever, and they all are trapped in this one area. The only way they can escape is by defeating the version of him in that mindscape. But also defeating being the version in there splits his power into two. That means when you hit him, you also hit the other him, hitting both of them at the exact same time, so you are doing damage to both bodies. Now, giving him super strength, some form of agility, just a little bit, and also giving him an extreme power leap, and also I am going to give him the ability to use his claws to climb up walls.
And also do a giant beast war, so in a beast blast and a beast roar. I think all these powers is a good thing for my universe, and also with a great villain, this also makes amazing construct for it. That means that this power is basically a very high level one, and I am very happy to have him in my universe. So say hello to Corrupted Beast. So everyone, like I said before, that this is this is just a super a villain I did not really have any intentions on making at this point, or I had the idea and then didn't follow through with it. But but then I realized I am doing every single hero and villain from Hero X. I can't just remove one just because I don't want to. That's like that's just not cool. I gotta do all the powers. So this one is I there's not much to go with, and I think that's the reason why my body just deteriorated from it. Was because there's nothing to go from this. It's a pretty simple concept for a very simple character that looks like the little big bad wolf in the grandma costume, and he decomposed. That this person just has super strength. Over one scene I remember that she just popped out from under the ground and just grabbed a girl as fast. So, and that's it. Like, we didn't see anything else. It wasn't a big fight or a fight at all. It was just her coming off the ground. So it's straight up just super strength that this person has. And so I have to add something with this creepy interior that we'll be using for the art style. So, honestly, I have an idea. We have the Ink Skull Wolf, or better yet, or basically another name is the Ink Wolf. The reason why this is actually a story that I've actually been heavily thinking about, so this is getting sad and depressing, okay, just bear witness. So this is based off of modern time, but there's a little girl who, for some odd reason, she accidentally found a million pack of wolves. A million pack of wolves, by the way, that actually did like her for whatever reason they had. They had no reason to trust her, but they did. This caused certain issues. You see, so she would hang out the wolves every single day, feed them, and give them rubs. And then one time, one of those wolves got stuck in ink. But this ink was weird. She helped the wolf get out. She pulled the wolf out, and she made her lifelong mission to get all the ink out of this little lake area out. That's when things went left. See, she was able to get it out, and she put the canisters a little bit far away. And during hunting season, people saw these, and they thought it would be funny to terrorize a little girl. So they threw the ink down the ground that slowly spread, and then they started hugging at the wolves, just launching over, just not with their hands, they were just launching it over, just one by one, throwing the ink that she picked up. And she didn't pick up all of it, but so that leading to so, in other words, this went south quickly. You see, the wolves one running around, she's trying to help the wolves, and then obviously with all the ink lying around, they're starting to get stuck. And she's trying to help them. There's ink everywhere, and they're trapped and then they start falling down this ink pile, right? Soon, all the pack of wolves with it, they all start accidentally jumping inside of this little puddle, lake of ink. But that's not it, because the blast did changed her. You see, all of the wolves died that day. came out with no other than the 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 ink. The Queen Hybrid. Sorry guys, my phone died. Not my phone died. My phone turned my light turned off for a second. Cause yeah. Either way, the the either way, the ink. She became the ink wolf, and she became the queen of the pack. She's able to summon her wolves from her body, and she basically has super strength, speed, razor sharp claws, and most of her body is made out of the bones of those wolves. The reason why her feet, chest, and arms look like that, they're the bones of the wolves. And now she is, think of an animal rights activist gone murder. That's a colorful picture. But she protects the wolves, okay? She protects the wolves only. But yeah, this was a very dark story, but I thought it really fits the character. And again, I did base this off of... We are now doing the power of old Isol. I know I didn't talk much about the character from last time. But this one I do really like. And yes, I do know that he was never a villain. I know that he was technically framed. But I kind of was running out of villains. I didn't like it. So I was just like, yeah. In the public, he was being a villain. So I get the villain title. That's what I did. His powers are basically lightning based. I still think he could turn himself into lightning, since when we saw this origin story, when this kid was he wanted to pretend to be like Isol, or had the costume of Isol or whatever, right? We heard a lightning crash, not footsteps. So I feel like he became lightning, struck down. So I feel like he could become lightning. Also, the lightning material that he uses allows him to make a barrier or make like a giant lightning whip sword. But that being said, I made a pretty interesting character. Now, this one, I'm literally naming him Metal Storm. The Metal Storm is because this guy has the power to basically build up this, and I was supposed to make it look like armor, but I thought this would look cooler. It does. So I regret nothing. Either way, he's able to make these, and they have little cracks where there's lightning coursing through them. Because he has a tiny bit of lightning energy he can manipulate that he uses to morph the constructs of his iron metal stuff. Basically, he doesn't morph it, but he just uses parts to make swords or shields or whatever. And they can break off, but also they can be put together again. So think like a puzzle piece. That's a weapon. He's able to do this. These materials on his body are actually incredibly strong. There's actually very select few superheroes that can actually hit him and hurt him. And also break his outer armor shell. And yes, the helmet is a part of it. He can use these to release some forms of lightning to create a form of a lightning ball to shoot at people. Or he can use several object shards to shoot at people and just penetrate them. I would even imagine that this guy would probably have enough power to shake the ground, but also he does have the ability to fly still. He can still make the forceful barrier, the lightning sword whip, and he can even turn into lightning in somewhat of a way to move around. Because these materials are very conductive to the point they create electricity from the sky. So it was the clear sky, right? And then suddenly lightning will strike because of this guy. Honestly, I think I did a pretty good job. Oh yeah, origin story, because I am trying to put more origins to these. Even though he was during the blast, this guy is actually a guy who was planning to betray people anyways, because they found a new type of electric mineral that they haven't discovered, and when this blast happened, he was thrown inside of it, being crushed with it, because these things are incredibly heavy, and the smallest piece weighs like 100 kilos. And instead of killing him, his body absorbed it, pouring it into his body. And he uses this found power to steal from other expeditions, robbing people of minerals and other things, and taking it for his own, believing that he cannot be touched. Hey guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and shut the bell notifications on, and share with your friends if you did like it. See you guys later.